If it's a kid's show,
Yes.
maybe that works.
Mm.
If it's an ad for hemorrhoid cream,
Definitely.
maybe it would still work, I guess. I don't know.
Are you saying there's a time and a place?
For analgesics, yes.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness.
Analgesics. Got it.
Now I know why it didn't work.
This is podcast gone bad. Oh, there's always one in a group. There's always one.
And in this group, there's 3.
That's why it's a group.
Or a trio.
If we were crows, we'd be a murder. The musicality of voiceover.
Yay! La, 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 la. Should we say that in harmony?
Well, it may be discordant.
Pick a note. Pick a note, any note.
Any note. We're professional, folks. Professionals. Okay, so musicality of voiceover.
Yes.
Does that mean I'm sing-songy?
No. God, no.
Hello and welcome to the show.
Oh,
No?
God, please don't. No.
If you do
sorry.
that,
No.
then yes.
I mean, that is sing-songy. Yeah,
Yes,
that was
it is.
beautiful.
Hopefully, you're not booking with that.
Like,
I guess
don't
it
ever
depends
do
on what
that
it
again.
is, right? If it's a kid's show,
Yes.
maybe that works.
Hmm.
If it's an ad for hemorrhoid cream,
Are you saying there's a time and a place?
for analgesics, yes.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness.
Analgesics. Got it.
Now I know why it didn't work.
This is podcast gone bad. Oh, my.
Oh, and then there was 23 minutes of them laughing at themselves.
It was
like
the
wiping
dumbest
the tears.
podcast ever, but I couldn't turn it off.
I am wiping tears of joy from my face.
Success.
It is.
Ay, yay. Okay.
All right. So, musicality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about
Yes.
it.
Tell you about, well, you tell me about it. You're the musician.
We have a lot in common. We've discussed this. There's breathing. Being a singer, you're walking, you're running, you're jumping, you're waving your arms in the air, and you're still singing. So there's body control that comes into play. If you're doing animation, you've got to be able to take those moments, and you've got to be able to put words to them. You've got to do the motions.
Or at least sound like you're doing the motions.
Yeah,
Because it's
True.
tough to run a marathon but stay on mic.
it really is.
Well, let's be honest, it's tough to run a marathon. Full stop.
And done. Thanks for joining us, folks, and we'll be back next week.
But wait, you're saying I have to breathe?
What is this breathing thing?
Yes.
But do you think that's why a lot of folks that have been musicians? Oh, okay, that's a totally different type of podcast now, Al. Ay, ay, ay. So there's a lot of folks who are professional singers as well as musicians
Sure.
that
Yes.
find themselves in voiceover, and I think they have an advantage, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because better breath control, larger volume of breath,
Yep.
Yes.
right? Can talk for longer without having to take a breath.
Right. Or
Yeah.
they take a really subtle breath that cannot really, it's not very audible. Right. So
sure. And then there's the cyclical breathing, right? That's a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been many, many years since I played the trombone, but I remember
Yes.
that being a thing.
That's like the Kenny G note. You guys don't know about the Kenny G note?
Didn't you hear
No.
the crickets?
Cyclical breathing. That's what he does. That's what he
Okay.
does. I almost fell out of my chair. I couldn't believe this.
Like, oh my gosh.
He plays this note where he's breathing in and out, as one does, while he's playing his instrument.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like whistling while breathing in.
I can do that. I don't know how
Okay.
you would play a saxophone like that.
I don't know either. That's why it's his job. But
That's
yeah,
why it's Kenny G's note.
Yeah, that's why he
Kenny G.
plays his note. He can play his notes so easy. That's how he plays his notes so long.
There's a joke here. I'm just gonna
There's a
let
couple of jokes in there, but yeah,
just leaving that alone.
because he breathes in and he breathes out on it to extend the length of his note.
Wow.
Of his notes. We're talking about notes, people. Notes.
We are, and breath control.
Yes.
Yeah. It didn't sound like a lot of support behind that breath.
Well, I find a
No.
lot of scripts are not written very well in
To be
terms of
read.
to be read out loud. Clearly, they have, there are some writers who have created the copy and tried to read it out loud, and they might break up some really long sentences. Shoot, what are they called? Run-ons, right?
You think people are actually reading the things out loud?
I don't think it's the norm. I think some do,
Okay.
but I do think that's our job as voice actors to kind of break up that script if we need to,
Sure.
because it's
And
really
that's why
difficult.
that's why the punctuation is sometimes just the suggestion.
Yes.
I find helps a lot with dense text is dropping it into a text editor
Yes.
and editing the layout of it first.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can break it up into, the groupings and the phrasings and stuff that just make sense for how I'm going to say it.
Visually.
Versus just, here's one big block of text and I need to read through
Right.
this thing and sound real and conversational and like I know what the hell I'm talking about. But I can barely read it because it's just a big block of text and my eyes go,
That's musicality. You break it up into verse, chorus, verse.
Hey,
Yeah.
see? Okay.
There it is.
Ta-da.
There it is. So there's a little tip for you. If you get a block of text that's difficult to wrap your head around, reformat it on the page.
Do either of you have do you do anything before you start recording as far as any breath control exercise?
That's my business.
Yeah, I'm talking. Okay. Let me explain for myself.
Voiceover related. Anything voiceover related.
Voiceover related before you.
You mean like warm-ups?
Warm-ups. Yes, vocal warm-ups.
I usually don't.
No?
I know I should, but I don't.
I sing.
I don't do enough.
Oftentimes I don't even fully break down a script before I record my first pass. I oftentimes will just do a cold read first.
Okay.
And then kind of find my way through it and figure out, kind of, okay, here's where it's going and here's where I'm coming from and here's the, and then once I've discovered it, I'll record it. But disk space is cheap. I've got a ton of space.
Sure.
Cost me nothing to just record it. So usually doesn't happen, but you never know. That first cold read, you might
Sometimes it's a keeper.
really nail it or get
For sure.
something,
Nail it.
you know, that gets you close, that you can listen back and go, yeah, maybe let me
that's
just
good.
tweak that just a little bit.
How many times do you normally go over a script when you record?
It depends on the script. There have been times where I'm just not getting it, and instead of standing up and walking away like I should,
Mm-hmm.
because it's due in the morning and it's
Right.
2 a.m. and I need to get it done, that I'll do like 10 or 15 or whatever it takes. And finally I'm just like, nah, this one.
The only time I've ever done that many takes is when they're looking for 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Then
If they're
I'll
only looking for
record
one,
them.
I'm not doing 15.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, well, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Because that's
I
too
mean,
much.
ideally I would like to spend 5 minutes or less recording.
Yeah.
But I'm not setting a hard time limit because I don't feel like I have any specific time constraints. I'm not doing pay to play.
Right.
Right.
So, turning it in 5 seconds is not a priority for me.
Makes sense.
All the auditions that I'm doing lately are through representation and
Mhm.
they have a due date, and turning it in early isn't generally helpful with the representation I have
Right.
because they batch it to casting anyway. They collect everything and send one batch.
Right.
Gotcha.
There's one who I think maybe does it different sometimes.
Yeah.
But the other two they're collecting everything and sending them as one big batch. So as long as I get it done before they say they need it, then
Perfect.
it's done.
Right.
That's always nice.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that I really didn't like. There are many things I didn't like about pay to play. And, by not being on there, I book less right now because I'm still working on my marketing game and so forth. But I also have a,
Horrible algorithm. Horrible.
Yeah, horrible.
Horrible.
Man.
But I also have a pretty well-paid day job, so I'm not starving for work either. So I'm able to say, you know what? I didn't feel I was getting anything out of being on the pay-to-plays other than frustration.
Right.
So I'm not going to give them my money anymore. And if that means that I book less for now, so be it.
But it also means you're getting quality auditions. So
I am. Yeah,
right?
and I book
Okay.
less, but the things that I book are much more worthwhile.
Right.
Boy, that's a nice exchange.
I can't even say that as a blanket statement, though, because I did book my first SAG gig on a pay-to-play. It wasn't listed as being a SAG gig. They told me that after the fact. They're like, so this is a union job, so is that okay? I'm like, yeah. And
Yeah.
that was
I think so.
2 years ago. And last year in March and this year, this month, I got a renewal check.
That's a great gig.
Presumably that'll keep going for a few more years, I would think.
Right?
I
nice.
suspect that the longevity on that's at least 5 years. So it could be 10, who knows?
That'll
Those are
make
the
you sing a
best.
song. That's musical.
So in that sense, everything that I spent on that pay to play is more than covered from the one job. But they majorly screwed me last time that I used them, and so I'm well shot of pay to plays. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of a little bit off topic.
What's your musical history, Victoria?
Oh, well, I did learn how to play
Don't say spoons.
The Mandalorian. I mean, the mandolin.
the Mandalorian. Yes, let's go back to Star Wars. No, I learned how I took trumpet. I learned how to play the piano. And you guys are going to laugh because I'm always laughed at when I said that too. And I also learned how to play the organ. I also took singing lessons and did a lot of solos. So I used to be a soloist, and I did some training for that with pop vocals and stuff in New York. Because, and this sounds really awful, but I enjoy being a part of a musical. I don't like watching musicals. There's 3 musicals I will watch. I can't do musical theater. And that's horrible because I have some wonderful friends, like that is their universe. They love it. And I can't. I get 3. That's it. So, but as far as, I think it helps and for me because I do sing a little bit before I will go in and start doing my auditioning or before a session.
So you warm up.
I do
singing.
vocal warm-ups. I do. And I think it helps because I have a naturally gravelly voice anyway. As I'm getting older, it's really starting to be a little bit more pronounced. But the singing helps a little bit. And now I'm like in my head, did I say singing properly?
Singing.
Singing.
Yes.
No, I was corrected about my ing words earlier. And I'm like, did I say that right? Singing. I
Yes.
think that's right. Yes. So anyway, that helps. I could still get better on breath work, but I think sitting down is a disadvantage for me. So I have and I think standing up when I'm in session, I always take my chair out of my booth. I'm always standing for actual booked work. And if it's really, really important and for certain genres, I'm only standing. But I will notice a distinct difference when I audition when I'm standing. And I think it has to do with, even when you're singing, you have to breathe differently. And I think when I'm seated, I have a tendency to slouch. So
Most
having
people do, yeah.
the posture part of it really plays a big difference in your overall delivery. So
Sure. Well, it constricts you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. I've heard from a musical end, some people, they have specific music they play to get them mentally in a mood. I've heard that. I usually just curl up and cry on the floor.
I was thinking Little Barry White, perhaps.
Maybe. But yeah, I've heard people do that. They when they start recording, it's all in their head. So they have to they play music for the specific role, whether
Sure.
it's a concerto or it's heavy metal, and that puts them in that headspace.
I have, not often, but a couple times, played music while I recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys listen to if they give you a scratch track, or if sometimes they'll give you the music,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
then
love when that happens.
don't you? It's so good. It's really nice.
In those cases, I definitely listen to the music while I record.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there are times where, I'm not in the right headspace for auditions that day. But the show must go on.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I'll
Gee,
listen to
darling.
something that is kind of the right mood while I record. So it's playing in my headphones while I'm recording. It doesn't pick up
Right.
on the mic, but it helps me convey the right mood.
Mm-hmm.
But it can also help sort of, I don't know, it can help with the phrasing and the cadence and stuff, right? Because you can kind of almost find yourself going to the beat of the song.
Right.
And so then that musicality translates into the text that maybe wouldn't be there otherwise.
Absolutely.
Whether it works or not, I don't know. I've probably booked one or two that way.
Then
I
it
think
works.
it's important to point out, just like you were talking about, and I don't think we were recording at the time, but we were saying how, the musicality of it is not sing-song.
Right.
I don't remember if we said that or not, because that's distinctly not what we're talking about.
Correct.
Yeah, because there are definitely people who that's their default go-to, which is wrong. That, commercials should be sort of this up and down and talking about things like this. And I've got a very musical sound to my voice and is whatever, and it's terrible.
Right.
And that's not going to book.
Please read a children's book.
Hopefully
Coaches will beat that out of you.
Yeah. But even a monotone read has musicality in it, right? Because music is more than just the pitch. It's also the speed and the rests and the
tempo,
the cadence, and yeah.
Agreed.
And so every bit of it has music in it.
Sure.
And if you get down to it, music is really just math. So it's universal
don't
language.
ruin it for me.
Absolutely.
You got to do math every day.
No
all
math.
the time. Always.
No.
All the time.
You don't do
no
the
math.
math?
Nope.
Huh.
No doing of the maths.
Then how are you booking all the time?
Because I don't do math. So no. No, thank you.
So
it's not the word on the street.
Indeed.
Word on the street is you do all the math. That's math, not meth.
I was referring to the way they call it, mathematics, and they call it maths in
Maths.
England.
I do like it. I do like that.
It's very posh.
Plural.
Very posh. Maths.
The maths.
Yeah, because it is mathematics. It is.
Yeah, it's more than one kind of math.
Yeah, but we call it math.
Math.
No wonder we don't like it.
Right? See? Because it's a singular ew.
A singular ew instead of many ews.
Like so many ews? Yuck. That sounds like ews.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
So yeah, I think, musically inclined people are just sort of inherently have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to voiceover, because once you've done musical performance of any sort, you can't help but fall into the rhythms and the whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you still have to study. You still have to coach. You can't do everything using that inside rhythm.
I mean,
But
there's, yeah.
It helps.
It is your instrument, your vocal instrument, right? So, I mean, there's been a lot of things where they say it is just like playing an instrument. But, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have never touched any musical instrument going, well, great, now I got nothing. So we're not saying that you have to have that as a background.
Yeah, well,
right.
and
it's
you
just
don't
helpful.
And you don't have to have played an instrument. I mean,
right.
Everybody has sung along to a song on the radio, right? So you understand,
bad or good.
Yeah, I mean, even if you sound terrible, you understand the structure of your favorite song, even if you don't comprehend it. You understand it, right? You understand the difference between a verse and a chorus and whatever. And again, even if you don't know the terminology and you don't really understand it, you just innately know it.
Sure.
And so, those of us who have played instruments or done more
Or sang.
musical production or
played the organ.
Yeah, or played the organ. Yeah,
Hey,
we maybe have a little bit of a leg up over those who don't, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to do it.
Right.
It's just an advantage. It's a tool in the toolbox.
Oh, the tools in the toolbox.
There's lots of tools.
Learn
Don't
it.
be one.
Live it. Love it.
And that's all I have for today. Don't be a tool.
That's all you got?
Don't be a tool in the toolbox.
Don't be a tool in the toolbox.
Don't be the
Use
tool.
your tools in the toolbox.
Yes.
Correct.
Well,
Yes.
be careful how you use that sentence as well.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
It
put
is.
your
Just now
tool in
she
someone
said it.
else's toolbox.
I really did. I just said it.
Keep your tool in your own box. Woof.
Ay. Okay.
If you've got musical skills, use them.
If you don't have musical skills,
Use them.
use them. Find some. Look for a toolbox and find them.
Yeah.
Got nothing.
I got nothing.
All right. The musicality of voiceover.
Play music in your headphones. That's yours, Will. I like that.
Yeah, give it a try. It's kind of fun. Just don't play it so loud that the mic picks it up.
Well, there's
Right.
that.
Plus, then you'll end up shouting the whole time. So I went down to the store and oh, wait, what?
Huh? Why are my levels all off?
It
What happened?
just doesn't sound right. It sounds so loud.
Ew.
I can't hit the right emotion.
Do you ever slip into the lyrics of the song you're hearing?
I haven't listened to music with lyrics
Ah.
when I've done it. It's just been instrumental. Otherwise, I think I would distract myself.
Yeah.
Because if I'm hearing some other word, it'd be like recording, but you're hearing yourself with a delay.
Oh, I
which
can't
is
do
the
that.
worst.
The worst.
Yeah, because you got different feedback coming to your brain than what it should be, and no.
That's like the worst Source Connect session ever.
Yeah. It's like singing the national anthem at a ballpark and hearing your voice come back at you.
But worse because you're wearing headphones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us. I'm going to go get another beverage. Of
Great
water.
idea.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.